Hello and welcome back to the Cartoonist Studio. Once again, I've got a new chair. Well, it's a kind of an old chair. It's a second-hand chair, but I like it. My granddaughter gave it to me. Isn't that nice of her? It's a gaming chair, but it's very comfortable and it suits me. Anyway, on with today's video. Today we're going to be doing an editorial. I've done a few of these and I quite like them, and I quite like the style I do it in. It was inspired by a newspaper story that was told to me. So I'm going to be going through all that with you in the video. I'm also going to be adding to it, as much as I can remember, I'm going to be adding into it all the materials that I use. And I'm going through it from the early stages. Normally when I do the editorial cartoons, I come to it with the panel already drawn up. Well, someone's asked me questions about that, so I've even taken that stage of it. So once again, it proves that leaving comments in the description below, or leaving comments below about things you want to see, they do creep into the videos themselves, so it turns it into more of what you want to see. So that aside, waffle out the way, let's go ahead and draw a cartoon about drunken tractors. Oh yes. Okay, once again I'm going to start the cartoon, but you're going to have to excuse any background noises because the private school that is behind me are having a sports day, and once again, in an attempt to blend in perfectly with the local community, they decide that they can't have a sports day without a PA that can be heard in the next 15 counties. So yeah, I have to put up with that, I'm afraid. Okay, now I'm going to take this through this cartoon, this editorial cartoon, through as many layers as possible, because the one thing I am noticing in the comments is that the more information I give about the process, the happier you all seem to be. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make myself a square with a ruler, but I'm not going to ink it with a ruler, if you know what I mean. I'll show you when I get to it. So this particular one, I put 2 centimeters in from the top and take it down to 18 centimeters at the bottom. So that gives you effectively 3 centimeters at the top, 3 centimeters at the bottom, 2 centimeters at the top. Now there's a reason behind that as well, not just because it fits neatly. When you do this, when you're doing a panel, give a little bit more space at the bottom than you do at the top. Don't ask me why this works. It just does. Okay, so that's the first bit. Now, coming in on the other side, I guess I'll give it 2 centimeters in here. Now I've used the 2 lines that I've used from the top to the bottom as my guide. So that's this line will now be straight if I line up with it. See, dot there, dot there. So 2 in there, and I'll run it to probably 2 in. So it's going to be about 27.5. So 2 to 27.5. And that should be equal in at both sides. I'm sure you can work it out. Just do what you want, but from do the size, ratio that you want. But I'd always try and balance it off equally on the sides, but the top is a little bit less coming in from the top than it is from the line to the bottom of the page. Does that make any sense? I hope it does. Effectively, for this kind of a cartoon, you want a rectangle. So you're going landscape rather than portrait with the illustration. So that's it. That's the start of it. The only reason I've done this is I've got an area to work within. I'm not worried about how straight and perfectly it is, because when it comes down to doing the background, I'm just going to use a Sharpie or something like that, or a thicker pen to mark off the area by hand. I'm not going to put the ruler down and draw it in. For these cartoons, I like to keep them loose, just like I did with the What If I Drew BC, which is in the What If I Drew ... playlist, where I attempt to redraw a lot of my favourite cartoons in the style if I was doing it. So I would literally, with a pen, do this. I'm not doing it now because I need to get the background correct. So stage 1. Okay, so that's the paper size, and I've also taken you through the materials that I'm using. The next thing is I've got this here, which is the rough outline for the cartoon. So that's what I'm going to be referring to. Let's just stick it up in the corner there. So if you see something encroaching in the corner, like that's my impersonation of Jaws. Not very good, is it? But if you see that encroach into the corner of the picture, that's what it is. It's just me using it as just a basic reference. Okay, so editorial cartoon. I like doing it in a cross between the American way, which I think is, I like the American style, shall we say, and the British. The British way is, as you can well imagine, very understated, and the Americans is very bold lines and in your face. But I kind of quite like that. But they don't. The British way, they'll have this picture and they'll populate it with quite a lot of pictures. Carl Giles was the greatest of them all. My personal favourite was Mac of the Daily Mail. And a lot of these cartoonists, they'd have, say, you've got a front room, so they draw the shape of the front room. It would always be kind of a 3/4, almost looking down on them. And there'd be a sofa and a TV and sideboard and a lot of stuff going on in the background. And it was all very entertaining. The American way is same size, but a lot more. It's almost like the picture is, they focus on one aspect of the picture and just go for that particular part. I quite like that. You can get away with using a lot of bolder lines, and yeah, I'm up for that. I'm up for that. Okay, so we're going to work on the basic shape of a tractor. And once I've got the, I don't know what I'm going to explain what the story is about until I've penciled it. Probably when I pencil it, I'll explain what the story is all about. You can do, if you want to, or you could do, yeah, is work this, right, I think I'll probably show you, using this as an example. Drawing a tractor, you want to do a rectangle like that, cartoony rectangle, and yeah, maybe do a shape like that as well. And then see, you're using that then as your shape for the tractor, and then you can start to develop and build it up and cross section and pipes and all that sort of stuff. So you're doing a rectangle and a non-rectangle, I guess, cab shape. So that would be the start of your picture, and you then just from there bring it down like that, and one up like that, and then go your circular wheels, and so on and so forth. So you could work off a shape like that and develop it. I don't need to, because I've been doing it for so long. Yeah. And the line here goes all the way across through there. That's the dividing line. And in the tractors, they have this kind of grating system. That's the back window, side window. I'm only doing the tractors I see, and it's a cartoon version of the tractors that I see. I think over in this over in this country, we use a lot of Massey Fergusons and what have you. I'm kind of basing it loosely on them. And it is only loosely. I'm not too sure what you use in America. Let me know in the comments below. As all YouTubers say, some sort of grating system. And yeah. Right, so that's that. That's the rough outline of the tractor. I will put a little wheel. It's going to be very, very light, this wheel. I mean, light as in sketching light, because the policeman. All because there's one of those involved. When there's one of those involved, you know there's trouble. Need to be around about here, so it's going to be cutting into this area. So not going to work too heavily on that. As you'll notice, this area is done a lot darker. Right, so a little bit there as well, and I can start to strengthen those lines up. Now we've got some shape. Now we know what we're sort of doing. There's a novelty. And a much larger wheel here. I do this a few times just to play with it, so as you get yourself a shape, so as you're in line with the other wheels, shall we say. In the ground, that's roughly that, and then there's the other wheels over there somewhere. Like I say, just a shape, just so as you know roughly where you are. And then here, this is where the cartoon mudguard comes on, and come up like that, and then over like that. And there's usually a light of some sort of indicator, I think it is there. Farmers don't usually use indicators. They're usually strapped on with sticky tape over here. Are your farmers the same all over the world? They make do and mend as best they can. Can't blame them for the way that the world government seems to attack and continue. I'm doing an editorial cartoon now, so I can be political. Oh, it's very exciting. Yeah, over here, the farmers are under tremendous assault from the idiots, for the idiots in Whitehall. For some reason, they seem to have this thing about farmers. They don't like them at all, and they're doing all kinds of horrible things to them. And they're having to try and survive. Now, I live in the countryside, so I know how difficult it is for farmers. It used to be not a bad little job to have, not a bad little earner. It certainly isn't now. The government don't realise that, and they're just attacking them on every opportunity they can get. And it's sad and it's wrong and it's pretty pathetic, to be honest with you. So leave the farmers alone. They try to feed us. And now, of course, they want to shut out the sun, don't they? We'll shut out a portion of it, because that will help everything grow. Right, okay, so now I can strengthen the wheels a bit. I haven't got to worry about it being a complete circle all the way around, because it's just touching the ground, and the bottom bit will always be flat because it's hitting the ground. And there's a central system there, and I guess it'll kind of go like that. And put some big bolts in here, and then the tractor tread. With the American cartoons, they don't simplify it. Sorry, oversimplify it, but they do simplify things a lot more than, say, their British counterparts. Now, that is not in any way, shape, or form an insult. I think it's beautiful the way that it's done. And in some degrees, I actually prefer it. Hence the reason why when I'm doing my editorial cartoons, I go more the American way. Because I'm inspired necessarily by the Americans, the American way of drawing cartoons. I just like it. The back wheel will be in shadow. Now the fronty bit here, the technical term, fronty bit. Yeah, don't worry about that when I get the policeman in. Now let's go. Oh, actually, hang on. They have I can't think what they're called. This is farmer I know. He would have a go at me if he found out I didn't know what it was called. Something about a pipe, something pipe, anyway. I'll put that down there. I'll cartoonify it as usual. And because it's a farmer, I don't just make do and mend. We'll stick a little plaster up there, a little cross plaster. Yeah, and I think that will eventually just be. I don't want to do it solid black or not. The ground, a little bit more, a few stones on the ground to signify the ground. And a farmer. And once again, I'm only drawing a British farmer, or how I see them. They're not all like this. Please don't run me over with your tractors when you see me, because I actually quite like the farmers. But I just have ways of drawing these things. I used to draw. Well, I've always drawn my farms this way. And I remember when I first started working for the Dandy comic, right, the national institution at the time, and they managed to destroy it. But yeah, I used to work for them, and whenever the script required me to draw a farmer, I'd always draw this type of character. And when they met me, the guy who used to write and originally write the cartoon for me, he met me, and when he saw me, he went, "Oh." I sort of went, I thought it was a bit odd thing to say. I've been greeted in many weird ways, but "oh" is a bit of an odd one even for me. But anyway, he said to me, he said, when he first saw me, he said he was surprised because he thought I'd look like this. Because I drew these characters all the time, he thought, oh, that's what he looks like. Stereotypes. And that's another thing, I'm working in stereotypes, something that is much maligned nowadays. And anyone starting out in cartoons is going to come up against the idiots who think that everything is, they're far too sensitive about everything. You can't do that, that's insulting to this, and that. With cartoons, you have to work in stereotypes. If you don't, then no one knows what the hell you're talking about. If I was to draw a farmer, and I drew someone in a three-piece pinstripe suit, you think, what's that businessman doing in a tractor? Whereas if I draw them in scruffy, broken down old clothes and the tractors, as I say, with little plasters on and holding them together, just barely being held together, then people know that it's a farmer, because farmers make do and mend. So there you go. Working in stereotypes. It works for cartoons. That's why we do it. We're not doing it because we're horrible people and we're taking the mickey out of you. We're doing it so as you instantly recognise what it is that we're trying to portray. So there, stick that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm enjoying this political bit. Ooh, this is fun. Now, once again, this is in the UK, so I'm going to draw a UK policeman. Also, when I draw farmers, their hands are very big and quite hairy. You look at most farmers, they got huge shovel hands because the amount of outdoor labouring work that they do and the weathers in which they have to do it, all that, got a feel for them. So yeah, that's why I draw the big hands. Stereotypes again, but instantly recognisable when you draw them. Okay, policeman. Proportionately, I guess I'm going to have him around about here. Doesn't matter how you draw them. Now, like I say, it's a British policeman, so he's not going to be drawn out in the American outfits, because obviously that's not how we do it over here. I don't even know whether he's going to be a traffic policeman. I'm not sure, but he'll be holding a notebook. I guess I'd better tell you the idea of the story. Now, it was told to me. I think I've told you that that cartooning nowadays is virtually impossible to make a full-time living out of this. I sell cartoons still. I still sell them to magazines and newspaper magazines more than anything else. But it's still very difficult to make a full-time living out of it. So what I do is I drive a school bus. I drive it for the rather noisy school behind me. I drive it for them. And I was driving along. I've got this one lad. I don't suppose he'll mind if I tell you his name. His name's Caleb. He's 6'4". He's a big, gentle giant. He's a lovely lad. And he lives on a farm. So when we're driving, he has to sit in the front with me because he can't fit anywhere else on the bus. He's just such a big lad. And yeah, so he sits on the back of the bus and he talks about farming. Every time we go past a tractor, he tells me what make, model, year, where it comes from, all this sort of stuff. He knows everything about tractors and farming, indeed. And he told me this story. And apparently, I read it in a newspaper somewhere, and it takes place in Scotland. And this farm has discovered that he can run all of his farm machinery on out-of-date alcohol, like whiskies and beers and stuff like that. I mean, the first thing that struck me as rather odd is that how anything can ever be out of date. Alcohol can be out of date in Scotland. It's just beyond me. But yeah, there you go. So I thought the idea of machinery running on alcohol and the traffic police picking him up on it just struck me as like a gold mine. So that's the idea. That was the story that I worked it off. And he goes straight to the memories of when I drew a lot of editorial cartoons for local newspapers. And I get a lot of these type of stories in. The local news stories are much, much better than the doom and gloom stories that you get from the national newspapers. I've always said this, get a local newspaper and they'll always have, all this local boy does well and all that sort of stuff. And silly stories. A lot of silly stories. I don't mean silly as in stupid. I don't mean that. I mean just silly, fun stories. And I loved working on the local newspapers, mainly for that reason. They were just brilliant. So we're in the countryside. I won't stick his car in the way because that's just going to confuse the page. We don't need that. All we need to know now is you've got a farmer and how we depicted the farmer with a tractor. The tractor's important because it's running on alcohol. These little clouds here signify a tractor just sitting still, and belching out fumes. Oh, the Green Lobby hate tractors. That's probably why they attack the farmers. Because our idiotic government at the moment, oh my God, they tax us beyond belief and then send it all around the world to these things for net zero and what have you. Whatever your views are on net zero, the whole point is the UK turning ourselves into net zero will do zero for the world's problem. So we're all struggling whilst they're sending this stuff out to projects in Africa and what have you. And as a result, people over here are struggling, and the farmers, more so than most, they were struggling to start with. Yeah, because it's a farm, and I live in Wales. Not all farms have sheep, but because I live in Wales, I'm going to draw a little sheep looking over the wall of what's going on. And also, I'm doing sheep because in a couple of weeks' time, I hope I'll be showing you how I produce a greeting card. I've got a range of greeting cards that I sell into local shops and petrol stations and what have you. And this particular range of cards are becoming extremely popular, so I'm having to sort of redraw them. And it's all sheep based, not puns on sheep or using the word sheep connections to make the joke. These are just jokes involving sheep. They're very country related. Okay, so there you go. That is. Oh no, it's not. What am I talking about? Of course, it's not it. Stupid cartoonist. Get it right. The other thing the Americans do is they put the word balloons. In Britain, the punchline would be typeset along the bottom here. Once again, absolutely fine, but I prefer the American way, which they use these balloons, word balloons. I like that. And I don't even do the word balloons my way. And the lettering is quite big and bold. Some letters are small, some letters are, well, not small. And in your face, that kind of thing. We start like that, and then I'll probably go quiet now and speed this up because watching someone letter is pretty boring. I have to concentrate because I'm dyslexic and I'll probably make a mistake. I usually do. Here we go. Right, there you go. Now, the next thing I do is I'll go through this and I'll work out which words I want to have a little bit bolder, shall we say. So probably in your tractors and probably all of that. I don't know. We'll see. but if not, definitely 15 times. So that's that, and then normally I do these ellipses for my balloons, but for these cartoons, now with the border, I'm not going to use it all, so I will probably start the border about here, bring it round there to there, and then all that will be removed. But I still have to draw within the parameters of that rectangle. So we're going to make sure that the word balloon comes around here, and then more of a rounded rectangle. Like, rather than bringing it straight, I just curve the edges. And then I'll be pointing to the character who's having a good old chat. Also, I'm going to do a tree because it's the British countryside and we do have an awful lot of beautiful greenery. The country's known for it, a green and pleasant land. And there you go. There's my tree. Maybe a bush of some sort there. And I'll have nothing over here at all. So there you go. That is the pencil stage of the picture. And now we're moving on to the inking. See you on the next bit. Right, materials. Yes, I used lots of them. And we'll start off with the ink. Now, although this is a speedball bottle, I didn't really get on with the speedball. I don't know whether it's the brush I use or the pen I use, the conditions, the weather, I don't know, whatever it was, I just didn't get along with it. So I went back to my old favourite, which was Winsor & Newton Black India ink. I just put it in this bottle because I quite like the bottle. I prefer I think it's larger than the India ink ones that they do, so I can just get more of it in there. So that's the ink I use. Winsor & Newton Black India ink. That's my preferred ink. Brushes, I don't go with necessarily brand names on the brushes. I go with a brush that I see and I think, oh, I quite like it. That's the first thing I do. Not very technical, I know, probably not very professional either. If I like the look of it, I'll give it a try. And if it's any good, then I tend to use it in the future. Now, I was attracted to this brush because of the knobbly bit there. And it's just really good to hold. It sits very well. Even though I probably put my hands down closer to the bottom, but the ferrule to actually ink, it's good to have that. It does. Yeah, I like it. So I've got a whole load of those. I think it's a 00. It's either a 0 or a 00. So it's a very, very fine point. If I'm doing heavier stuff, I tend to go to a 0 or a 1. I need the one stage up, but it's notably thicker. This is it. I don't know whether it's going to show very well. I'm not sure, but there you go. That's what I do. That's difference. The other one, slightly thicker. So there's my brush. Now with the lettering, well, cartoon strips and single panels, normally the lettering's done along the bottom and I just do it in Photoshop. But when I actually do the hand lettering, I use pens. And these particular ones, I like to do some words in one level of heaviness and the next one slightly thicker and larger so as you can accentuate certain words. It's an old cartoon lettering technique and I shamelessly use it like many other cartoonists do. So for this one, I've got a number 4 and a number 6. So those are the two pens that I'll be using in today's cartoon. I've got a normal kneadable eraser as well. And for the paper, or in this case card, it's just A4. Now, there isn't a brand for this because I'm trying to get hold of more of it. I'm devil's own job doing it. I used to use a photocopying service, or a print service, should we say, in Brecon, and they use this kind of a ticket card. It's very heavy paper. It's not card, and it's nice and smooth, so the ink goes onto it beautifully. And I really got along well with it. So what I'd do is I'd say, "Oh, can I buy a ream?" So I'd buy reams of this stuff. Well, they closed the shop down and they stopped buying, or they moved the shop elsewhere, but they stopped doing the print side of it. So they stopped buying the paper, and I just can't get hold of it. So failing that, either get some Bristol board or some cartridge paper or just photocopy paper. For a single panel, that's really all you need. But because I'm doing an editorial, I know it's not going out to a newspaper, but It's nicer to have it on a bit of a thicker card, because with editorials, if you do editorial cartoons for newspapers, part of your income can be made up of selling the cartoons on. So if you've got it on a nice heavyish stock, it holds well in the post, it doesn't get folded, and it's easier to frame. It's just nicer all around. So, and of course, you're using a lot of black ink in it, which admittedly I don't. I do the black ink solids on the computer. But if you do that, then it holds up nice there as well. Right, okay, that's the... Oh, I got a drawing board and a chair and a lamp and a Thursday afternoon. So that's all the stuff I've needed for today's cartoon. Right, let's get back on with the inking, shall we? Right, here's the final stage now. Because I brought the tree up around here, I want to make sure that it runs to the lines that I've used, and I'll show them in now. So, like I said, I've drawn the outline here with a ruler. I'm not going to actually put the black outline with the ruler. So, quite roughly, and it doesn't matter if it wobbles a bit, because the more the better. I'm going to bring it like so. That will connect to the leaf when I ink it, all the way down here and so on. There. And I'm just going to connect it to where the road goes down there. So that's now an open panel. I quite like the open panel look. And I get my two pens, of which I've got a number 4 and a number 6. Actually, bear with me a second. I'm back. I went all over to the west wing of the studio over there. And I've discovered an 8, a number 8. There we go. And that might be a little bit better. So we're going to work with that. So starting off with lettering. Now remember, I've underlined the ones I want to go bold. So I'm going to start off with the second word and so on. So once again, I'll go quiet on this whilst I speed it up, because it's pretty boring stuff. Actually, no, it's not. Someone has asked me about lettering, old style lettering. So perhaps we'll go through with this. A lot of cartoonists will use a bottom line and a top line to work on their letters. I don't. I just use the bottom line. But I used to use the 2 lines when I was practicing. So keep it very loose, but almost imagine that you're hanging it out on the washing line. So it goes like that, and that bottom bar will go up in the air. Same thing here, have it going up. Think about bees, is it's always a larger one at the bottom than it is at the top. Slightly higher, because doing the U there, slightly higher there than it is there. Not much, but a little bit. The H line going up. E. See the way it's sort of like just slightly skewed? That's how you do it. And then same thing with the there. Now we bring out the big guns now. It's not that much bigger, but it's slightly bigger. And then might have to do it by doing it a few times. But get your shape first, and then thicken it. Just go over everything twice, and you should be okay. And now I'll shut up and finish this little bit off. Right, there you go. That's that done. Pen sorted out, chucked over there. That's that final stage. Now it's on to the inking with my Winsor & Newton paint and my whatever the brand. I don't know what the brand of this thing was. I really don't know. But where we go with this, and I'll start off with something like the tree, something non-important when it comes to the outline. So if it comes a bit thin to start with, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to take it into small detail to start with. That's basically what I'm saying. I don't want to do that. Because sometimes you can start and it's like there's nothing there. You think, oh, that didn't work out well, so you've got to go all over it. And if you start off with a fine detail, it looks like a bit of a mess. The technique I'm doing here is I'm just not even working on a what would you call it now? On a regular thick and thin style line. I'm just, if I think it needs to go a bit thicker, I put a bit more pressure on the brush. Thinner, less. Now with the lines that I use for the tree, I do them thinner than the outline, shall we say. A huge amount, just a little bit. Like I say, my cartoons aren't slavishly faithful to the American way. It's just using it as an inspiration. And then I'm doing my own version of it. The British way, damn it all. Oh, that's very, very good. And then there's these little branches coming off the tree like that. I didn't draw them in pencil because you can just add them as you go along when you come to the inking yourself. The leaves, or leaves is it? Leaves. There they are. They're just nice and very rounded. Also brings me in mind of another YouTube video I want to do, and it's going to be quite a difficult one to condense, shall we say. I'm going to do a painting. I know there's nothing new in that. Loads of people do them. I'm doing it slightly differently. And more on that when I get closer to it. So if you want to see yet another way of doing paintings, and once again, I don't think anyone else does this, but I could be completely wrong. But you will find out if you keep on liking and subscribing or following the channel. Then when it comes out, you'll see it. And the other video I did, which was a basic cartoon course, shall we say, of which I want to continue to do a few more. I think I did faces, didn't I? Faces and the head. That went down very well. And there's been requests and emails for more, much more of the same. So I will be doing more of those. And that's for those of you who just like to understand the process from the beginning or want to learn from the beginning. I'll teach you. And someone has very kindly said, I'll buy the book when you do it, and you are going to do it, because I told you. And I think, okay, seems a fair enough argument and well put. So I always have thought that one of these days I really should do a how to draw cartoons. Because I think mine sounds slightly different to enough of the other cartoonists that I can say, well, look, this is how I do it. It's the other ones do it their way. They're all pretty much of a muchness, but mine is slightly different with the action and what have you. So maybe I've got something new to add to what the established cartoonists who do these books are already doing. I'm not knocking what they do. There's nothing wrong with what they do. It's just that I have enough of a new viewpoint for it to be worth me doing a book. So maybe I'll get round to that one day, amongst all the other millions of things that I've got to do and want to do. Now, these lines are also a lot thicker than I would normally do in, say, a comics page. That's the other thing you see. You've got to be fairly versatile. Once you've got your style, once you've studied the people who inspire you, you've got to find your own style, your own voice, if you like, within art. But depending on what it is that you're asked to do, and as a jobbing cartoonist, you can be asked to do caricatures, editorials, comic strips, character design, comics pages, a whole variety of things. But if you're going to do it in your own style, then you have to realize that the certain projects that you're asked to do can require a different technique with maybe the brush or the pen or whatever medium you decide to do your cartoons in. I'll just put a few stones here to denote the ground. Yeah, there you go. So normally when I work with a brush and if it's a comics page, the lines will be like this, a lot thinner. Because this is an editorial cartoon, for some reason they're a lot thicker. This style of editorial cartoons, should I say. It's not just any old cartoon. Yeah. Now I have done a few editorial cartoon tutorials on my YouTube channel. I don't know whether I've got a list for it, a playlist. If I haven't, then I'll probably put one up. By the time this video goes live, it will probably be up there because it's a discipline all of its own within the cartoon world. I can do most of these things because I wanted to be a cartoonist. So if I can do it all, or at least have a good attempt at doing it all, then I've got more of a chance of getting accepted. The more versatile you are, the more editors are likely to take you on because it doesn't matter what they throw at you, you can do it. That's always another good thing as well. Stones in the road. Lovely. Now, having originally, when I drew these little puffs of smoke to show the tractor sort of chugging away, it's now getting in the way of the picture. So I'm going to remove them. So I'll just connect these two lines up there. And instead I'll put the bush behind it. Denote more countryside. That will work better for me. There you go. And then in with the stone wall. Are you enjoying this channel? I know I mentioned liking and subscribing, but you really must. Can't do enough of that. It's, growing. I had quite a good month last month. YouTube congratulated me, and there was even talk of sending me a cake, but it didn't transpire. Nothing came through the post. So they said, "You're doing well. What's going on?" I mean, we've seen the dribble that you produce, but people are still liking it. So yes, like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. If you're a cartoonist, you must know other cartoonists or aspiring cartoonists. When I was an aspiring cartoonist, I couldn't turn around for falling over one. And so let them know about it. Let them know about this channel as well. And I can mess with all your innocent minds and show them how I draw cartoons. And you can go along and find out how proper people draw it if you like. Oh, forgot to do that little bit there. Now the tractor over here is in silhouette, but you've still got to have the knobbly bits. I don't know what the technical term is for that. If you're watching this, Caleb, let me know what the knobbly bits are called. Leave a comment. If you can control the digits on your phone with your massive thumbs, he's got farmer's hands, you see. Right, so the lines are going down a bit thinner here because we're working on a bit more detail. The crossbar section. Now I have taken a little bit of artistic liberty here. This is the tractor door, and you would normally see the farmer on the bottom of his legs and the bottom of the chair, but for the sake of making it easier to view, in other words, less confusing, should we say, I'm going to make out that the bottom half isn't see-through. Oh, maybe there are tractors out there that are like that. Probably are. But once again, I'm taking the tractor and I'm playing with its design to suit my image. There's nothing wrong with that. We cartoonists have been doing this for a long time. Normally there'd be a grate there, but that if I did that, it would confuse this area, which is his face, and that's important because he's the one speaking. It's coming along quite nicely now. I probably will shut up now and just get on with the rest of the inking. So I'll say my goodbyes, but before I do that, I'll obviously say, once you've liked and subscribed, if you go down to the links in the description below, there are the universal links for all the books that I write and draw. And there's variation from children's books to graphic novels to cartoon collections, books on golf, and all this kind of stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff down there that I've done over the years. And purchasing copies of those supports me and eventually this channel. Allows me to continue to do this stuff. At the moment, I'm not sort of making enough money out of it to say that, it's supporting me, because it's not. But buying them, and the more that you buy them and hopefully enjoy them and tell your friends about them, then they'll go and buy them. And if you like what I draw, then when I bring another book out, you'll go and get that as well. And so it just grows organically, should we say. Yes, you can do that. And there's a Buy Me a Coffee, which is another good way of supporting me. Buy as 1, 2, 3, 4, as many as you want, or as few as you want. And of course, liking and subscribing, most importantly, that gets the message across. The more of you, then the more time I say that message about buy my books, there'll be more of you to buy them. See how it works? It's quite straightforward, really. And it all starts off with a like. So go and do that if you do nothing else today. Make a cartoonist happy. And the only other thing is, thank you for your company. It's always lovely to have you here. And if you want to see more stuff, me drawing more things in my own style and maybe waffling endlessly about it, then do keep coming back. Because every fortnight, it's fresh content. Sometimes on themes, sometimes just a new thing, shall we say. Yeah, keep on coming back. I'll say next time I don't know what it is. I could be going weekly. I think I mentioned it. I'm still playing with the idea of producing another graphic novel. Either going to be a Sleepy Hamlet one, which I've already got one out for, and that's in the link in the description below. That's The Night of the Village Idiots, but the graphic novel, not the novel. There's two versions of it. And I might be producing another one of those. If I do it, it'll be called Invasive Action. Hey, what's that about? That's interesting. And if I do it, then I'll be doing, I'll be filming myself doing a page every fortnight, one page from the comic. So you'll see a comic page being produced every other week. So what I'll be doing is one of these style videos, which is general cartooning, and then the other week it'll be the progression, shall we say, of the next graphic novel that I do. So you get to see it being produced. You don't get to know the whole story, because what would be the point? You wouldn't go and buy the book. But you will see it being drawn in its various stages, and I will talk about its progress. So that's possible. I'm getting closer and closer to saying, right, let's do it. Another thing here quickly, this is the other these things called mudguards. mud flaps or whatever you call them around the rest of the world. But because this stage here, it's outside, it's out in the air, you can see it, and there's the other indicator, blinker or whatever you call it, and here it's broken slightly because it's in the glass. So what you do there is you just shade it slightly like this. So it's following through into there. It's going in the glass and you can't really properly see it. That's how that's done. And then just a little bit in the corner here to show the glass. A few lines like that. It's a signifier of glass. So yes, I think that's pretty much all I have to say on that subject. And I'll see you on the next video. Let me know what you think about the graphic novel. If it's something you'd like to see, something that you'd follow. Is it worth my while going? Because it is a lot of work doing a graphic novel. Believe you me, I did one once and I thought, oh, never again. Not unless I was commissioned to do one, obviously. But oh god, it was a lot of work to do every single week. The commitment was just immense. But if enough of you like the idea, then yeah, I think it's definitely something I'll do. Then perhaps you can reward me at the end by going and purchasing a copy. Okay, right. I'll shut up and get on with the rest of the cartoon, which I may speed up a little bit. Okay, so thank you once again for your time, and I'll see you in a fortnight. Until then, bye-bye for now. I'm back. I know I said I'd shut up for the rest of the video, and I did, pretty much. I didn't speak at all whilst I was doing that last bit of inking. The only reason I'm back is to say, now I'm going to show you the finished cartoon, which has been coloured in Photoshop. And I leave it on for a little bit longer because, once again, someone wrote in the comments below, don't just get rid of the cartoon like that, because we like to study it. Having seen it being produced, it's nice to study the finished cartoon. So you now get 20 seconds of a bit of music and the cartoon in its finished stages, and you can have a good old look at it. Okay, enjoy. See you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.